Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, from today onwards we are going to start with a new chapter from the main book, that is First White, chapter number 10, the Sermon at Benares. It is also called Varanasi. Yes, so the Sermon at Benares. It's written by Betty Renshaw uh, in her article Values and Voices. Now, Gautam Buddha, 563 BC to 483 BC. BC means before Christ. 563 years before Christ he was born. So the line goes towards zero. So the number becomes less. Yes, we have learned that on the scale. We have learned that 0 is the Christ. When the Christ, Lord Christ was born, Jesus Christ was born, that is considered as 0. From there AD starts. Yes, first AD is the year in which Jesus Christ was born, and from there today we are 2020. So the line goes on the positive side. 0, the year when Christ was born. If we go before that, it's called before Christ. So 563 BC, Gautam Buddha was born, and then we go towards 0, so 483. So uh, we are talking in this chapter, we are talking about Gautam Buddha. Now, sermon means the preaching that is done. जो in simple language, in a layman's language, right? Lots of saints, sadhu, saints, sages, learned people, religious leaders, religious people, their understanding about religion, their understanding about philosophy, their understanding about the life, the different values as a human being that we should have or which are considered ideal. Those things are taught by not one religion, all the religion of the world. All means all the religions of the world, all the religious head or religious preachers, teachers, learned men of that religion. Some of them might not be even educated, right? If we go in the ancient time, all the people were not educated, but they listened very carefully to the saints and sages and inculcated those things in them. And with the knowledge that they gathered, they were able to discuss philosophy with the common people in a layman's language. Layman's language means a common language which is understood by the local people of that area. Layman's language, very simple, without any show of hi-fi words or very complicated and difficult words. No, in a very simple language that they can understand. They have to be made understood with the help of logic, reason, because their perspective, the common man's perspective, is quite different. He is a worldly man. A common person is a worldly man. He is surrounded from all sides with all the worldly problems. Yes, and he has to look after himself, he has to look after his family. There are a lot many problems, right? Some of them might be financial, some of them might be related with the relations. Yes, some of them might be attached with the society. So castes, religion, right? So he is surrounded by lot many problems of the on the worldly stage, right? Now that common man, how can he understand religion? how can he made how can he be made to understand the spirituality, right? The religious importance, the religious gurus, or whom we say the religious saints or religious leaders, they are the people in a very common man's language, in a very layman's language, with lots of reasons and logic and examples. They are made to understand some values, some logic that pertains to the world, some of the things that they do not know how these things happen, right? And by listening to these sermons, the sermon at Banaras sermon, the religious preachings. Now, we have learned in social also, because you're a 10th standard student, we have learned that in social also. In all the chapters of history, there will be a mention of Lord Buddha, right from chapter number 1 to chapter number 7. There are lots and lots of sculptures of Lord Buddha, yes, statues of Lord Buddha in various sizes, made up of various material. It can be stone, it can be a single rock, it can be metal, yes, and various types of metals, various stands in which Lord Buddha was found, meditative mood or standing position or giving the blessings. So you will find Lord Buddha's sculpture all over. There will be lots and lots of uh, worship places of Lord Buddha that we have learned in the various chapters from chapter number 1 to 7. So we are well acquainted with the uh, name of Lord Buddha, the religion called Buddhism, and the preachings and teachings of Buddha. We have come in chapter number um, 4 exactly, that Lord Buddha, Benares was his favorite spot to give sermons, to give preachings to. It was not to convert people towards Buddhism, it was to give them enlightenment. Why is he called Lord Buddha? Because he got enlightenment and he got nirvana. He came out of the cycle of life and death. That is what we have learned. Yes, salvation. We have learned these words, right? These are the meaning. Yes, that he is above those things of converting people to his religion. Or I mean, he wants to show the truth. He wants to show the path to God, right? While doing our daily chores, we need to dedicate some time to God, be one with God. And that is exactly what he was teaching. In these sermons, he wanted to realize people about the reality. Now, the episode or the story in this chapter deals with is, it's a very, very famous story, right? Only thing is the writer is different. Not an Indian writer, she is a foreigner, Betty Renshaw. Now, all over the world, there are hundreds and lakhs of followers of Lord Buddha. Yes, lots of people got converted from their religion to Buddhism because the way they got linked up with the Buddhism, or the way they got linked up with Lord Buddha, changed their lives and they adopted Buddhism. And Betty Renshaw, in Values and Vices, very beautiful article written by her. Yes, she tells us a very beautiful story, a very popular, very common story pertaining to one of the Lord Buddha's experience with a, a woman who had a dead child with her, and she's not ready to accept that the child is dead, and uh, she goes from pillar to post in order to get some medical help or to revive the child to life. Yes, and Lord Buddha, with the help of just simple logic reasoning, explains to her the different intricate and complicated ways the life deals with us, right? So in this way, Lord Buddha just shows the woman the light of the Lord, the way, the paths in which the Lord works, and we are not completely known about it, right? So in very good way, he teaches the woman the correct path of God and the way in which God works. And this is very well written by Betty Renshaw. Gautam Buddha, who was born in 560 BC, 63 BC, up to and lived up till 483 BC, began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautam. Yes, coming to English, it becomes Siddhartha and Gautama. Otherwise, it is Siddhartha Gautam. Now, he was just uh, any simple common human being like us. Yes, only thing is he was born into a royal family and he was a prince. So he began his life as a prince and his name was Siddhartha Gautama in northern India, somewhere in the northern India. I will not deal upon those things. At 12, he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. So, when he became of age, in those days, of course, schools were not there, patshalas were also non existent or maybe limited only up to few people. So, at the age of 12, when it was the right time to start education, because he belonged to the royal family, and it is the need of the royal family to get education for all their children, because they have to carry on uh, with the management of the state. So he was sent away for schooling in Hindu sacred scriptures. Sacred scriptures, we know Rig Veda, all the Vedas, yes, Vedangas, all the different Hindu scriptures that existed during those times. So we have already learned that in chapter number 4, the Hindu scriptures, right? And 4 years, it took him 4 years to learn all the Hindu scriptures, all the basic uh, knowledge that an educated person should have, plus being a very good expert in the Hindu scriptures. 4 years later, when he came back, yes, it was the right time during at that time, and that was the ripe age for the prince to get married. So he returned home, and of course, he was a prince, so he married a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years, befitted royalty. Now, he was born in a palace. The king always ensures that the royal family gets everything they want, and they should always be happy, right? Uh, in one of the supplementary reader, also we have come across one such story in some other part of the town, the Happy Prince, right? We have learnt about it, right? That when the princess, the queen, king, they are royalty and they live in palaces, and uh, all the worldly things are available over there, because the king is very wealthy and he can provide each and everything to their children, and all they assure is that children should always be happy, whole of the royal family should always be happy. The same case happened in Royal Prince, that till he lived, he did not know what is pain, what is sorrow. The same thing is happening over here, right? That Gautam Buddha, yes, he was born in a royal family. Up till 12, he was a child, and had all the worldly things, all the wealth of his father over there to leisurely lead his life. At 12, he went to uh, learn the Hindu scriptures. There also, he was treated as a prince, and he never knew about anything else, what a common man's life was. Yes, only the Guru was in touch with him, and he taught everything to him. Yes, and he came back and married a prince and a princess, and uh, for another 10 years, they lived happily. They even had a son. All of them were quite living very happily. He never knew death, sorrow, pain, nothing of that, because those things are out of touch of the palace. Yes, the palace gates are always shut for sorrow, sadness, and all the negative vibrations, and only happiness should arrive inside. So that is what happened. Heretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world. A very good word written by the author over here. That the prince, 12 years of age plus 4 years of schooling, 16 years, got married, another 10 years, 26. Until he was 26, he never knew about the suffering of the world, because he had his father's wealth. His father was a king, he was a prince, yes, and married to a princess, and they had a child. All of them living very happily in the palace. No suffering was known to the prince. While out hunting, chanced upon a sick man, then an aged man. So, once, these are the leisures of the erstwhile kingdoms, that they always, usually for the purpose of recreation, entertainment, and some acts of bravery, they used to go out hunting once in a while. Yes, so when the king, now the king is of age because his son is 26 years old, right? So he is also of age, but still that chivalry, that bravery is still in there, and might have taken the prince, or the prince might have gone all alone. We are not told over here anything, so we'll not dwell upon that issue. But he went out for hunting purpose, and there he saw a sick man. He had never in his life seen a sick man. He had never in his life seen an aged man, a very old man, just bent over walking with a stick, because youth was always present in the palace. Young people were there, old people were not allowed in the palace. So that is why he has never seen an old person. Yes, no sick people, no sad faces are seen in the palace. That was assured by the king and the queen. So the prince never saw a sick person, a sad person, a crying person. He had never seen an aged man. And then what he saw was something even more worse than a funeral procession where a dead body is taken by the family members, friends, near and dear relatives, is for the last rites, uh, to be cremated, right? Either by burying or by burning on the pyre, right? So in that way, he saw three things. One is a sick person, one is an aged person, very aged person, a very old man, and the last thing he saw is a funeral procession where a dead man is being carried by people and taken to the place where the last rite, the crematorium at the last rites are observed. This thing he had never known in the life, right? He was a child, he became a young man, and in the palace everywhere he had seen young people, mostly soldiers are guarding, right? And all the ministers, etc., must be might quite young, and the king and queen made sure that no sad looking people, no aged people, not too old people are in the palace. Always happiness is there in the palace. So he had never confronted these three things. First is, he had never seen a sick man. Next thing is, he had never seen a very, very old person. And the last thing is, he never knew anything about death. He only knew about life and the good things about life. He never knew that a person would die after living quite a long time, and then his body has to be burnt. So, and finally, a monk begging for alms. The monk he had seen. Yes, religious scriptures, they are taught by religious people. The holy scriptures, they are taught by um, the sages, they are taught by learned people, right? But here he saw a monk who has given up the worldly things, renounced the world in order to adopt religion and to serve the religion. He is a monk and he's begging for money. He doesn't have money to feed himself. He has to beg. Now, he is the responsibility of the society. He has come from the society and he dedicated his life for the religion, but then he has to beg. That means the society is not taking care of the monk. So he has to beg for alms. Alms means the money or something which is given to the poor people. That's called alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. That made Prince Siddhartha Gautam made up his mind that I don't know. I am living in this world. I don't know anything about these worlds. These people are suffering. What is suffering? And at that moment, he left his princely title. He left the palace. He even left his wife and son, and he set out in the world to find the answers of these questions. Why is suffering there in this world? Why are people suffering so much? Somebody is healthy, but somebody is so sick. Somebody is young, somebody is so old. Yes, a child has just gone birth and is happily crying because he is a newcomer in the world. Yes, people laugh with him. People try to make that child laugh. On the other hand, there is death. Yes, where people are crying again. Yes, and the person is dead. He is no more. He cannot show any feelings. But the people who were attached with him, they show the feelings and they cry for that person, right? So opposite scenarios are in front of them, and he has never confronted those things. He wants answers to lots of questions that arise inside him. So at that very moment, he renounces the world, all the worldly things, including his princely title, the palace, his wife, because all that is attachment. If he gets attached to it, he will never find the answers. He has to give up all those things, and he has to get enlightenment, to seek enlightenment. Now, enlightenment is not a complicated word, it is a very, very easy word. Enlightenment means knowledge. What am I doing? I am also enlightening you, right? I'm giving you knowledge, right? So, enlightenment is nothing but knowledge. Only difference is true knowledge. Yes? So, to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows. Now you understand the line? The world to seek knowledge concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. Yes? So, enlightenment is not to be associated with salvation or nirvana. Okay, so these two, three words, they are quite different from each other, and their meaning is quite different. Is enlightenment just means to gain facts or to gain pure knowledge. That is called enlightenment. The world to seek enlightenment concerning what? All the sufferings that he had witnessed. Seen with his own eyes. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree where he vowed to stay until enlightenment came. Now, he roamed around world, that's our India. He roamed around lots of areas, and we know our India is always in the villages. 80% of our population lives in the villages, and there is suffering over there. Yes, sometimes there is lots of rain, sometimes there is no rain, sometimes there is less rain, right? Somebody's land is grabbed by somebody, somebody's money is stolen, right? Everybody is in trouble over here. Yes, so there are very few people whom he have met who are very, very happy, quite satisfied, have whatever they want, right, in their life, right? They don't want anything more, they are not greedy. So everywhere he has seen everything. So for 7 years he kept on roaming around the world. Yes, world means our world. And he observed everything, and he wanted to know the answers why people's lives are like that. Yes, and then at the end, in order to get the answers from God Himself, he wanted enlightenment, he wanted true knowledge, and he made up his mind, and then he came where under a people tree. That people tree is that Bodhi Vruksh. Yes, we have heard the word. Yes, yeah, it comes in our social studies. Bodhi Vruksh, Bodhi temple. Yes, so he came to that people tree that is known today as Bodhi Vruksh, under which he sat down and he vowed that I will not get up from here until I get enlightenment straight from God. I want answers of whatever questions I am having. I want to have the true knowledge of our meaning of this life on earth. Why is there life and why is there death? If God created this world, He should have created it once and He should have made the lives. And then why did He add so much sorrow? Why did He add so much death? Yes, there is that cycle. He doesn't understand that cycle. Why people get born, why living things get born, and then whatever is born has to die one day. We are not mortals, we are not immortals, we are mortals. We consider God immortal. So he has lots and lots of questions in his mind, and he doesn't have the answer. Now, who is going to give the answer? God himself has to come. So, until he doesn't come over here under this tree and give me enlightenment, I'm not going to stand up from this place. See, he vowed to stay until enlightenment came. Enlightened after 7 days. So, for 7 days, we have heard those words in Gujarati, in Hindi, lots of serials that we see. Yes, घोर प्रतीक्षा की या बहुत ही घोर जो है तपस्या की. Is that means words may be different, right? But it means the same. Yes, he whispered to God and he kept on whispering, and he kept on taking the name of God until God had to come and give him enlightenment. So, enlightened, that means after 7 days, God himself came and enlightened him. After 7 days, he renamed the tree as the Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom. What is Bodhi? Bodhi, Buddhi, right? What is Buddhi? Wisdom, right? So, after 7 days, he got enlightenment, and enlightened, he renamed the tree as the Bodhi tree. So, that is the tree we are talking about exactly, the Bodhi tree and the Bodhi temple. These are the two places that have great importance to all the religion and especially Buddhism. So, this is the place where Lord Buddha got enlightenment and he understood life and death and the circle of life and death. And when he gets answer, he comes out of the cycle of life and death. That is salvation, right? So, the Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understanding. So, now he got answers. That is enlightenment. He got knowledge. Now he has all the knowledge. Now, what has he to do with all that knowledge if he doesn't share it with the people? So he starts sharing his knowledge to the people, right? In a language they can understand, in a way they can understand. That is called preaching, teaching, sermon. Yes, जिसको हम बोलते हैं bhakti, bhakti, and the prachar that we have for religious teachings and preachings. Yes, so uh, we get this from the learned sages, the sadhus, the saints, and the very well respected learned people of the religion. Any religion it can be. If we have all those people, if you go to a church, the father over there is a very learned person on the Christian religion, and he gives enlightenment. What is he giving? He is giving the true knowledge about God. You go to a mosque, there also mullaji hote hain, he gives true knowledge about the world, a true knowledge, and gives the answers, satisfies the lots of answers asked by the people. Same way we go to lots of saints and sages, well-renowned people, Hinduism or Sikhism, everybody answers the same thing. They answer the questions in such a way that it is easily understood by the person, and he satisfies himself with the answer that he gets, and he is relieved, right? So that is began to teach and share his new understandings. At that point, he became known as Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened, meaning the same. What is awakened? We are all asleep, asleep in the manner that we belong to the worldly things. Yes, मुझे कार चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे वो चाहिए, ये मुझे ज़्यादा मार्क्स चाहिए, मुझे ज़्यादा पढ़ाई चाहिए. So we are greedy people and we are always wanting things. We are very much attached with the worldly things. That there are lots of other things to look after, but we don't look them. Yes, we just see things. We have questions in our mind, but we never ask or we never get an answer to it, right? So at that point, when he started teaching and preaching, he came to be known as Buddha. You know, who is a Buddha? Who is Buddha? Buddha means the awakened. Awakened, a person who has woken up from his sleep and become one with God or has all the answers just like God, because we assume that God has all the answers. So the awakened or the enlightened. The enlightened means the most knowledgeable person. The Buddha, now comes the, right? He is the head of the religion. Yes, he is the Lord of that religion. So the Buddha. Yes, the Buddha. We never say the Rama or the Sita, the part of the religion, right? But here, Buddha is the awakened one. So the Buddha, particular, right, preached his first sermon at the city of Benares, today known as Varanasi, right? So he gave his first preachings, his first teachings at the city of Benares, most holy city of the dipping places on the river Ganges. Now we all know that Benares is a famous city which is located on the banks of river Ganga, and it is said, there is a belief that uh, the holy river Ganga, if we take a dip in it, then it washes away all the sins and makes us a pure human being. That's a belief, right? But according to the belief, now uh, those people who might have visited Varanasi of today, as they must have seen that there is a temple in each and every house. This, all the streets are filled with temples, right? Whole of the city is filled with temples. Yes, it's a temple town, and it developed because of that. Yes, Benares is considered one of the most holy and sacred places in the Hindu religion, and taking a dip at the Banaras Ghat is considered most holy, most auspicious, and cleanses all the sins made by the human being. So, the holy, most holy of the dipping places. There are lots of other places also on the banks of River Ganga. Numerous places are there, but Benares has the most charming and well-known place for taking a holy dip over there. That sermon has been preserved and is given over here. It reflects Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. Now, the sermon, the preaching he gave over there, while he was, that was his first sermon. So, one incident of that sermon is given over here for us to understand the way in which Buddha Buddha's wisdom about one kind of inscrutable of the suffering is he gives a very simple answer to it in a way that uh, people can understand. And when he was preaching for the first time, teaching or giving the blessings or giving the uh, preachings and teachings at the time has been preserved. It has been preserved and it is reflected, given over here. It reflects Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable, that cannot be scrutinized, right? So it is inscrutinized. Yeah, you got hurt in the leg, right? You got injured. There's a small cut. Yes, the pain you know. Even the doctor to whom you have visited, he cannot feel the pain. To feel pain, he can see the cut. He can know what amount of pain you might be going through, but you will not be able to describe exactly how you feel. So that is inscrutable kind of suffering. Now we come to the story. Kisa Gautami had only one son and he died. A very small son who can be taken in the arms. Such a small, cute, small little boy. He died. He had only one son. She had only one son and he died. Right? So, Kisa Gautami, then that's the mother's name, and he had only one son. She had only one son, and the son died. In her grief, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine, and the people said, "She has lost her senses, the boy is dead." Now, it's not quite an unnatural thing to happen. Yes, people die every day, right? Here and there, people die. Sometimes, even young children, they also die due to numerous reasons. And we are talking about that era where uh, today's medical science was totally absent. Even children, people died of very, very common diseases. So that was quite natural. But the child died. But the most important thing is Kisa Gautami, the mother, was not ready to accept that the child has died. So she takes the child in her arms and goes from pillar to post. She goes first to the neighbors asking to give some medicine so that the child can come to consciousness. Looking at the child, somebody might have felt the pulse, somebody might have tried to touch the heart and see if the heartbeat is going on, somebody might have kept a finger near the nose to see if he's still breathing. And the body, we know, after a person dies, the body starts becoming cold, right? The heart is pumping and blood is flowing, and there is warmth in the body when the person is alive, or when any animal, bird, creature is alive, still his body or its body is warm. Once a person dies, the body starts getting cold. So somebody might have touched and felt it stone cold and understood that the boy is no more, the boy is dead. But what to do? The mother is just not ready to accept that the boy is dead. It is her dear son, her loving son, and her only son. So that is that grief. What is grief? Grief is in her grief. Grief means sadness, utter sadness. She is so much shocked that the boy is not responding. For her, he is not responding. But the fact is, he has died, and that is why he is not responding. So she starts going from pillar to post. She goes first to the neighbors, and then to the next street, and then to the next street. She carries the boy in her arms and begging people to give medicine or to show the way to the best doctor in the town so that she can get some medicine and revive the child's consciousness. But what are the people saying? The people are saying that she is in such a shock because women, they know exactly what happens is because women, they have given birth to children and they know that if a child is lost, what happens to the mother, it becomes very difficult for her to come out of that shock for quite a long time. For some it might take 1 week, for some it might take months, for some they might be just grieving on for years and years because that child was so cute, so so darling to her that she just keeps on missing it. So the lady, the woman, is in a state of shock, and that is why she is not ready to accept. So she has lost her senses. When we are in a shock, we don't know what's happening, what's going on, and what we are doing. So the people start talking. This, just look, she is so much shocked. She is so much grieved that she doesn't accept that the child is dead. She wants the boy to be revived from the consciousness, to come out of the unconsciousness, so that he is alive again and in front of her. Yes, she has lost her senses. The boy is dead. You can't give medicine to a dead boy. You can't give medicine and make that boy alive. At length, Kissa Gautami met a man who replied to her request. Now, she kept on going from people to people, this street to that street, everywhere she is roaming, but then nobody has a cure for these things. Yes, nobody has that much knowledge that can make a dead boy alive. So, she doesn't get a proper answer. Yes, people just sympathize her, but don't give an answer. At length means after a long time, Kissa Gautami confronted a man who had an answer. Replied to her request, I cannot give thee medicine for thy child, but I know a physician who can. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot give thee. It's old English. Remember, we have been told that this was 583 BC to 563 BC to 483 BC. So we are talking about that time before the Christ, and the language was not that much. English language was not that much. But this is to tell us that this is quite an old story. So old type of English is used over here. I cannot give thee. Thee means you. I cannot give you medicine for your child, but I know a physician. Physician is a doctor. Physician is a doctor. When you are sick, you just have some cough and cold and a little bit of temperature. You go to a local physician. Local physician, a doctor nearby, is who regularly checks you, knows you. It's very important that the doctor knows you very well, so that even if you're bluffing, he will know isko rest chahiye, choti chahiye, doesn't want to go to school. So change your doctors continuously. But I know a physician, a doctor, or a person who knows everything about medicine. I can uh, give the name to you, who can give you medicine. And the girl said, right now, a young woman, a very young child, so you can call it. And the girl said, pray tell me, sir, who is it? And the man replied, go to Sakya Muni, the Buddha. Buddha का दूसरा नाम Sakya Muni है, right? So Sakya Muni, go to Sakya Muni, the Buddha. He will give you medicine, or he will give you a way to revive your son from the dead. Or he didn't say dead, but can revive the son from unconsciousness. So pray tell me, the girl, the woman, young woman is pleading, please tell me, pray tell me, please tell me, sir, I'm begging you. Pray means here, it means begging you, right? Who is it? The man replied, go to Sakya Muni or the Buddha. Kissa Gautami repaired to the Buddha. Now, बुद्धा को रिपेयर नहीं किया है, Yes, repair has a different meaning over here. Repaired has a different, quite a different meaning over here. Yes, when whole of the world says we don't have any answers, and one man says yes, you can have the answer, or your boy can again become alive. Only that man can help. Or what are we going to do? We're just going to throw ourselves at the feet of that man. Yes, hands and legs stretched and touching the legs of that great man who can do the wonders. So that is the meaning of repaired. Prayed, bag, whatever. She just sat down over there and said, I'm not going to stand up. Just like Buddha, I'm not going to stand up until you give me back my son. So Kissa Gautami repaired to Lord Buddha and cried, Lord and Master. For her, she doesn't know who is Lord Buddha for the first thing. Yes, otherwise she could have gone herself. Yes, but she doesn't know. She had been pointed out by someone to go to Lord Buddha. She doesn't know who is Lord Buddha. So for her, why is she saying Lord and Master? Because he is the only person in town who can give some medicine, or who can cure her son from the dead. Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy. She is yet not ready to accept that the boy is dead. For her, that is some disease, somehow, don't know why, the boy is just not responding, might be unconscious. So, cure my boy of the disease, give me medicine. Buddha is a learned man, and just looking at the boy can understand, oh, holy man, sacred man, right? He just understands by looking at the boy that the boy is no more, and this fact the woman is not accepting, that the boy is dead. She still thinks that the boy is asleep or has gone into unconsciousness, and she wants to cure the boy so that the boy can live again, can again wake up, sit, and be with her. So, how to? Now comes the greatness of Lord Buddha. I want a handful of mustard seed. Okay, you want medicine, I'll give you medicine. That is what Buddha said, but in some another way. So, in order to give medicine, I need to prepare the medicine. So, I want a handful, a fistful, or a little bit of mustard seed, that is rye. What is a mustard seed? The rye we use in cooking. That is that mustard seed. I want just a handful of mustard seed. Now, the girl is overjoyed. Just a mustard seed. Go to the first house and say, my boy is near the feet, or this is my boy, and I want to cure him. And Lord Buddha has asked for a handful. Anybody is going to give her a handful of mustard seed, right? And when the girl in her joy promised to procure it, get it. Then Buddha added the condition. You will bring me the mustard seed, I know, but there is a condition with it. What is that condition? The mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, wife, parent, friend. See, the condition cannot be fulfilled. There will never be a house in this entire world where somebody has not died. And I don't mean the house, it has to be family. When you grow up, the elders in the family, one by one, they will be one with God, right? And we will always keep them missing. That is another thing. But when a person has lived his complete life, and his age comes, and he has to die. What that is the rule of the life, that whatever has taken birth has to die. So this is Buddha's condition. Lord Buddha's condition is, I just want a handful of mustard seed. Yes, we should here remember that Lord Buddha is the enlightened one. Yes, if he wants, he can make the dead alive, right? But here he puts a condition to make the girl understand something. Bring mustard seed, handful of mustard seed, but being from that house that has never seen any of the family member, known, near and dear one, dead. So it can either be a child, it can be a parent, it can be grandparent, it can be elder one, it can be a friend, it can be a relative. Nobody should have died in that house. Now, Kissa Gautami, the young woman, she is so happy to hear a cure and know that Lord Buddha can cure her child and bring him back alive, right? Cure him out of the disease, and the son will again be smiling in front of her. That she doesn't much give attention to. She hears, but then she doesn't give much attention to the condition laid down by Buddha. Yes, now, Kissa Gautami, she was wild with happiness, and she didn't even try to logic, or she didn't even try to reason that there cannot be any house where somebody has not died. Somebody must have died. Yes, not in that house, but in that family. Somebody must have been dead. She doesn't dwell on that issue right now. She's just so happy. One point in time, she is so much in grief. Other point in time, she is so much in happiness that she just ignores the complete reason or logic behind the condition of Lord Buddha. So poor Kissa Gautami now went from house to house, and the people pitied her and said, "Here is mustard seed, take." Yes, of course. Now this is what humanity is. Yes, that we are so much close in India. This is where humanity is. We always tend to poor, sick. We always listen, and we always be humble enough to help out the poor, right? And we pity, and we do whatever we can to at least lighten the little bit sorrow that we can. So everybody, to each and every house that she went, people listened to her and then came out rushing with a handful of mustard seed, and yes, take this and give it to Lord God Buddha and cure your son. But before accepting, she has to tell the condition. But when she said, "Did a son or daughter, father, mother die in your family?" The answer is going to be yes. There will be no house, not in that city, but in the entire India and entire world, there will be no place where a person near and dear has not died. So, as soon as people are ready to give the mustard seed, but when they hear the condition, they pull back their hands and say, "I'm sorry. Somebody has died in my family. Did a son, daughter, father, mother die in your family?" They answered, "Alas, that's the truth." Yes, the words placed over here are very, very beautiful. What does it say? "Alas, the living are few, but the dead are many." Very, very beautiful sentence. Yes, we are just 3 or 4 in the family right now. Count on the father's side, count on the mother's side, their father, their mother. Yes, the dead are numerous. The living are few, only 4 of them. But just count the people who have died before that in the family. They will. So very good sentence written over here. The living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief. Now you are. I didn't. There are deaths in our family, but we don't remember it every day because we are men of the world. Yes, and we got to do our work. We have to continue with our living. So when time comes, we do remember that, right? That this was the day in which uh, great grandfather was born, or this was the day on which he died, and we carry on with the customs and set traditions in our family. We carry on that, but that is for particular day. Whenever if we have photographs hung on our walls, we look at them and we miss them. But that doesn't happen each and every second in our life. Now you make me remember of the people who are dead in the family, right? Don't make me do that. Yes, it fills me with grief and sorrow. Yes, do not remind us of our deepest grief, deepest sorrows. And there was no house but where someone beloved had not died in it. Again, there was no house but some beloved one had died in it. There was no house. Somebody had died in it. So she did not get that one handful of mustard seed. Right? So we stop over here for the day. Thank you, students.